Was Atlantis a real city, or just a legend? For thousands of years, this question has captivated thinkers, dreamers, and explorers. The story of a magnificent island civilization, advanced beyond its time, that vanished beneath the waves in a single day and night, is one of history's most enduring mysteries. But where did this incredible story come from? And could there be any truth to it? Our journey begins not with sonar scans or deep-sea submersibles, but with the writings of an ancient Greek philosopher. Around 360 BC, Plato introduced the world to Atlantis in his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. He described it as a formidable naval power located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we now know as the Strait of Gibraltar. Plato painted a vivid picture of a utopian society, a marvel of engineering and social structure. According to his account, Atlantis was a circular island with concentric rings of land and water created by the god Poseidon for his mortal love, Cleito. The city was a spectacle of wealth and power. Its temples were adorned with gold, silver, and a mysterious metal called orichalcum, which was said to glow with a fiery red light. The Atlanteans were brilliant engineers, building intricate canals, bridges, and harbors. Their military was unmatched, with a vast fleet of ships and a powerful army. They lived in harmony and justice, ruled by a dynasty of kings descended from Poseidon himself. For generations, the Atlanteans were noble and virtuous. But as Plato tells it, their divine nature began to weaken, diluted by their mortal side. Greed, hubris, and a lust for power corrupted their society. They embarked on a campaign of conquest, seeking to dominate the lands around the Mediterranean. Their aggressive expansion was finally halted by the ancient Athenians, whom Plato praised for their courage and virtue. Shortly after their defeat, divine punishment came swiftly. There occurred violent earthquakes and floods, Plato wrote, and in a single day and night of misfortune, the island of Atlantis ... disappeared in the depths of the sea. For centuries after Plato, his story of Atlantis was largely considered just that, a story, a moral fable or an allegory designed to warn against the dangers of imperial ambition and moral decay. Plato might have been using Atlantis as a literary device to explore his own ideas about the ideal state, contrasting the corrupt, powerful empire with his vision of a perfect Athens. Many scholars today still hold this view, arguing that looking for a real Atlantis is like trying to find the physical location of Tolkien's Middle-earth. It's a powerful narrative, but one born from imagination, not history. However, the allure of a real lost city proved too strong to ignore. This story re-emerged with a vengeance in the late 19th century, most notably with the publication of Ignatius Donnelly's book, Atlantis, The Antediluvian World. Donnelly was a U.S. congressman and a passionate amateur scientist. He argued that Atlantis was not a myth but a real, historical place, the cradle of all major ancient civilizations. He claimed that the Egyptians, the Mayans, and others were all colonies or descendants of Atlantean survivors. He compiled a list of parallels between ancient cultures on opposite sides of the Atlantic, from pyramid building to flood myths, and proposed Atlantis as the common ancestor, the missing link. Donnelly's book was a sensation, igniting a worldwide obsession. Suddenly, everyone wanted to find the lost continent. This sparked a wave of theories and proposed locations that spanned the entire globe. The search for Atlantis was on. So, if Atlantis was real, where could it be? The most straightforward interpretation of Plato's text points to a location in the Atlantic Ocean, beyond the Pillars of Hercules. This has led some to search the mid-Atlantic Ridge, a massive underwater mountain range. The Azores, a group of volcanic islands, have been suggested as the mountain peaks of the sunken continent. The logic is simple. What if a large landmass in this area sank due to volcanic activity or shifts in the Earth as crust? While tantalizing, deep-sea mapping has found no evidence of a sunken continent in this region. The geology just doesn't support the idea of a large landmass disappearing so suddenly. Another compelling and very popular theory transports us from the vast Atlantic to the beautiful Aegean Sea. This hypothesis centers on the island of Thera, now known as Santorini. Around 1600 BC, Thera was home to the highly advanced Minoan civilization. Then, one of the most violent volcanic eruptions in human history occurred. The eruption blew the island apart, creating a massive caldera and triggering catastrophic tsunamis that would have devastated coastal communities throughout the Mediterranean. The parallels are striking. The Minoans were a sophisticated naval power with advanced art and architecture, much like Plato's description of the Atlanteans. The volcanic destruction of Thera was a single day and night of misfortune on an epic scale. Could it be that stories of this real-life catastrophe were passed down through generations, eventually reaching Plato through Egyptian priests, who embellished and transformed it into the legend of Atlantis? The timeline is a bit off, as Plato placed Atlantis 9,000 years before his time, not 900, but some theorists suggest this was a simple translation error, mistaking hundreds for thousands. This theory is one of the most academically respected, as it grounds the Atlantis story in a real, documented geological and archaeological event. But the search doesn't stop there. Other, more exotic locations have been proposed. Some have looked to the Caribbean near the Bahamas, spurred on by the so-called Bimini Road, an underwater rock formation that some believe is a man-made wall or road, part of the lost city's infrastructure. However, geologists have overwhelmingly concluded that this formation is a natural phenomenon known as beach rock. Then there are the truly fringe theories. One, proposed by Charles Hapgood and supported by Albert Einstein, was the idea of Earth crust displacement. Hapgood suggested that the Earth's entire outer crust could have suddenly shifted, moving the continent of Antarctica from a more temperate zone to its current polar location. In this wild scenario, Atlantis is buried under miles of ice at the South Pole. It's a dramatic and imaginative idea, but it lacks any credible geological evidence. So, with all these theories, where does that leave us? Decades of exploration with advanced technology, sonar, satellite imaging, deep-sea robotics have scoured the ocean floors. We have mapped the wreck of the Titanic, discovered ancient underwater cities in the Mediterranean, and charted vast, unseen landscapes. Yet, in all of this searching, not a single definitive, undisputed piece of Atlantean evidence has ever been found. No inscriptions, no ruins that match Plato's description, no glowing orichalcum. The complete absence of physical evidence is the biggest argument against a real Atlantis. For a civilization supposedly so powerful and advanced, you would expect them to leave some trace, some artifact, some ruin that couldn't be explained away. Critics argue that the search for Atlantis is a search for something that never existed outside of a philosophical text. They believe the believers are seeing patterns where there are none, connecting unrelated historical events and geographical features to fit a preconceived narrative. And yet, the mystery endures. It endures because it speaks to a deep human longing. The idea of a lost golden age, a perfect society that fell from grace, is a powerful archetype. It's a story of what we could be, and a warning of what we might become. The search for Atlantis is more than just a hunt for a sunken city. It's a search for our own origins, for knowledge lost to time, and for the hope that something truly extraordinary is still out there waiting to be discovered. Perhaps Atlantis is not a place to be found on a map, but an idea to be found within ourselves, a symbol of human potential and human frailty. Or maybe, just maybe, deep beneath the waves, hidden from our satellites and our submersibles, the ruins of a magnificent city are waiting for the one discovery that will change history forever. Could Atlantis be discovered one day, its secrets finally revealed? Or is it destined to remain a legend, a ghost city lost to the depths of the ocean and the mists of time? The debate is far from over, and Atlantis remains one of history's greatest and most tantalizing unsolved mysteries. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed diving into this mystery with us, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into the unknown. Thanks for watching.